In this video, what I would regard as a major update regarding Tommy Robinson, not from him or from his lawyers or from court or anything else, but something what I consider major, so I'll let you know what I think about that. But also, he might need your help for this as well. But secondly, in the second half of the video, please do stick around for that. I have some serious thoughts on freedom of speech in the UK. So I'm going to just give people a reminder about that. Stick around for that in the second half of the video. It won't be very long. I know we're already sort of getting into the evening and I'm recording this. I'm going to put it out straight away. So let's get straight to it. So please do subscribe to the channel. That helps to support me as an independent creator, journalist, and barrister. Thank you so much for your support and subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate that. Hit the like button while you're down there. Really does help. So let's take a look at this. So this I just happened to come across from the admin post on Tommy Robinson's account. You've possibly seen it, but if you haven't seen it, you will now. And I'll explain why I think he could benefit from your help as well. So this admin post reads as follows. It's time to purge my friend's contempt of court. It is time to get him out of prison. I will not apologise for wanting my friend back with his family where he belongs. I will not apologise for my concern over his physical and mental well-being. It serves no purpose for him to rot in prison where the British state can prosecute him over and over again for the same supposed crime. Tommy has made his point. It's time for him to come home. And I'll explain a bit more about the contents of the post in a minute. But what this post is showing here is a screen record of deleting the film Silenced. And I'll explain in great detail why that's so important in just a moment. So this is the screen record. This is the film, and you can see here
I've ever made.
The admin team going to the delete and deleting this post. It asks for confirmation and waiting for it. There it is. It's gone. And so you'll probably see now that that post has disappeared. But as some people have commented below, that does, I think, appear in other places. So I'll come back to that in a minute. So coming back to the post, first of all, some people may have a backlash. I haven't seen this, but I would encourage against it. Some people may have a backlash against the admin team for doing this and deleting the film or deleting the post with the film, etc. I would say don't have that backlash because I see what they are doing here in deleting the film. They can assist in purging the contempt of court. Come back to that in a minute. And they say they won't apologize for doing that. So obviously they possibly expect some kind of backlash. I'm here to tell you independently. I mean, I have no affiliation, no connection. I'm not asked to do this. I'm not asked to say this or anything of the sort. But I would say don't give them backlash for deleting this. That is the sensible thing for them to do, in my opinion. I think they are doing the right thing, and I think they're doing it in his favour. As they say, he's made his point. Obviously, the court sees that as contempt of court, posting the film, etc. But removing it goes some way to purging the contempt of court. So how can you help? Well, you can help indeed, because if I bring this judgment back on screen for a moment, this, you'll remember, was the summary of reasons and the sanction for contempt of court which sent Tommy Robinson to prison. And of course, there is the risk, as I've mentioned before, of a further application for contempt if the film is not removed, either by him or potentially elsewhere. And so there is that risk. The risk exists of him essentially either going back to prison or that being extended for a second term, etc. So this is detailed here. Now, the bit in orange, obviously, you remember from before, there's a punitive and a coercive element, the punitive being the punishment and the coercive element being to persuade him to purge the contempt. And so the 4 months portion of this was intended, in the court's words, to encourage and incentivize future compliance, and says quite clearly that it is open to Tommy Robinson to purge his contempt and seek the remittal of 4 months, as in make it 4 months shorter, 4 months of this order, which would result in early release. To do that, he would need to demonstrate a commitment to comply with the injunction. And that is likely, this we're into the bit in pink now. I didn't choose the colour. I'd choose red if this had a red colour, but it doesn't. It says, that is likely to require, at the least, the removal of Silenced from his social media accounts. That you've now seen. So that is now documented by them, and I suppose by me indirectly. So that's been removed from his social media account, and it says its removal and the removal of other publications that breach the injunction from other online providers, or at least taking all possible steps to secure their removal. So that gave me the very simple idea about how you can help Tommy Robinson. It's very straightforward, it's very easy, but it can help. But first of all, 2 minutes for something that really does help my channel here and helps me stay independent. Back in a moment, don't go away. As a very brief aside, which helps to support my channel and stay completely independent, sometimes I bring you products and services that I think will really help you. Today's partner is Saley, who really helped me when I went to China. Believe it or not, when I was in China, every video I uploaded was tethered through my phone, and I had seamless internet connection from the moment I arrived using Saley. It is an app that you download so that it's ready for when you travel. You buy a plan for your destination, and it activates as an eSIM immediately when you arrive. There's no need to wait for a plastic thing to come through the post and take it out, put it in your phone or anything like that. It's all done on the app, and you can get to choose between the SIMs that you use. You can still use your own number, but you also use Saley as an eSIM to access data for the internet. So you can still receive phone calls to your normal number, but you also get fast and reliable connection to the internet using Saley. It's available in lots of countries, and of course, because it's brought to you by NordVPN, it also has lots of security features that you might expect, such as browsing websites you might not be sure of, downloads that you might do which may harm your devices, and it will flag those up because of the security features behind NordVPN that's brought to you through Saley. And of course, as a partner to my channel, just by watching my videos, you get 15% off any plan with Saley just using the code BlackBeltBarrister. Download the app so it's ready for when you travel. You don't have to buy anything straight away, but when you are traveling, it's very quick and easy to buy a plan for your destination. Use the code BlackBeltBarrister at the checkout for your 15% discount, and then it will activate as an eSIM. You just follow the instructions, and it's really easy. Anyone can do this, and you don't need to wait for anything to arrive through the post. Very easy, and it solved my problem to make sure that I had access to the internet when I went to China, so I could still bring videos to you even though I was in China. So thank you to Saley, not just for partnering with me for this video, but for providing the service, because it's a fantastic service that really helped me out. So check it out and you'll find it really useful. Okay, so back to Tommy Robinson, and a bit later, something else on free speech. So here's how you can help. And so whilst you've seen this post here remove it, I would urge you, if anyone else has posted this elsewhere, I would urge you to do the following. Now, this is not me interfering with the case and justice and so on. This is me making a general statement of what could be useful. I think it would be a sensible and reasonable course of action for anybody else, if you have or you know somebody that has posted this elsewhere, to screen record. If you have a Mac or a MacBook, you can do this by holding the Command, Shift, and number 5 button. Then it will turn into a screen record. 3 and 4 do screenshots. 1 just does a screenshot of the whole screen. 4 will do a selected screenshot. But Command, Shift, and 5 will give you a pop-up which allows you to draw a box around the bit that you want to record, and then you click record. I'll do a little screenshot, I'll put it on in the edit, where you click record and you can do a screen record of deleting that video. You don't need to make that public, and I would suggest that you don't make that public. What I would suggest, if you want to help Tommy Robinson, I would personally suggest as a sensible thing to do, this is not advice, this is not me interfering, I have to say that, but what I think would be a sensible thing to do is, if you do that screen record, send it to this account here as evidence that you've removed it. And thereby they can then pass it to his legal team and say, we've taken all reasonable steps. We've got several people, if anyone has published this elsewhere or shared something from someone else elsewhere, even if you, and also, I suppose that even includes if you undo a retweet or you undo another tweet or whatever of someone else's post of the same video, or the same comments that were made within the video, or transcripts. I don't know. I don't even know that these exist anywhere else. I've not seen them personally, haven't exactly looked for them personally. In addition to that, you can share my video here as many times as you like, because that will allow more people to see my video, to see my recommendation, to then, if they have shared it, posted it, commented it, whatever, they can then remove it, document their removal, send it to their legal team. Then if that's the case, then they could put together a whole selection of different people that have done this, including my video here. I am voluntarily doing this. I just have to stress, I've not been asked to do it. I've just done this of my own accord. I've seen this here and I thought this is a good idea to tell you This was a sensible thing in my view to do, generally speaking, and I think I would encourage you to do the same. Even my video here could be used in support of their efforts to remove this from social media. Even perhaps my previous videos where I've mentioned that this might be a good idea to remove it, and they've taken steps to do that to help to purge the contempt. And then this, in accordance with what's required here, this was at least the removal of that from his social media accounts and the removal of other publications that breach the injunction from all other online providers. But obviously, this broadly means X or other platforms, other video platforms. I don't know that it's on any other video platforms, but it could also be broadly interpreted to mean other people, other accounts that have posted this, or whether they've posted on a website, or frankly, any other video provider where this has been published. If he takes all possible steps to secure the removal of those videos or comments or snippets or whatever, that will all be useful into getting him out of prison early. Now, some people in the comments, because I know a lot of you support Tommy Robinson, and I know some people watching this don't support him and will be shouting at me in the comments, why are you helping him? Well, for one, I'm just human. If this is going to help somebody, I know a lot of you support him, so if you want to support him, this is me telling you how to support him and so on. Not everyone agrees with what he's done, but a lot of people do support him. So I can remain neutral whilst being helpful. That's essentially what an advocate does. So even when we fearlessly fight for our client, we are still independent. We remain independent at all times. So, we cannot be bought, we cannot be bribed, we cannot be pushed, we cannot be coerced. We will do what we want to do in the way we want to do it. We are independent, we remain independent. So it doesn't matter whether somebody wants us to do something. If we find that it's against our ethics or whatever to do so, then we don't do it. So here, that is the court saying that it's open to purge the contempt. That's the admin team showing that they've taken one step to do so. This is me saying, here's how you can help comply with the court order. So I have no problem saying that and doing that. I equally make no apology for encouraging people and showing people how they can help him comply with the court order. Ultimately, that's sort of what we do as lawyers. We help people comply with the law and comply with court orders. So that's that said. But aside from Tommy Robinson, there's another thing that's bubbling away on social media regarding blasphemy laws, which I think is a serious problem for free speech. It's sort of blasphemy by the back door. What do I mean by that? So we don't have blasphemy laws. We got rid of them a long time ago. But if someone is charged with something which is related to religion, which shouldn't normally be a crime, but they're charged with it anyway, is that not just a blasphemy law without there being a blasphemy law? That's what I mean. So Rupert Lowe posts about this. He's posted about it a few times. Again, I've got no affiliation. I've chatted to him a number of times. I've had him on my channel before. But here's the problem. So this is Rupert Lowe, and he posts, "This is Britain. We do not have blasphemy laws, and we must not have blasphemy laws. Burning the Quran is not a crime." Now, I've mentioned before, I don't agree with burning religious books, but that's not to say it's a crime. In fact, it isn't. It isn't a crime. He goes on, "Free speech means protecting the right to offend, including Islam. More politicians should have the courage to say so." Now, we do have a response to this, disappointing response, really, from Adnan Hussein. And again, I don't like offending people, and I don't like to support offending people, but I do like to support the freedom. So this is a double-edged sword. But Adnan responded to say, what Rupert actually wants to say is, free speech means protecting the right to offend Muslims. Rupert Lowe responded to say, yes, I do believe the right to offend Muslims must be protected. The right to offend anyone must be protected. And then he responds to say, it's deeply worrying that you invest so much energy into advocating the right to offend a minority community. Now, as I say, I don't like to offend people, and I don't advocate offending people. That's not the point of this video in the slightest. However, that's not what the law says. The law actually, if we bring this on screen here, this is the case of Scotto and the CPS. It's a fairly recent case, and it was in the High Court, and it's absolutely around free speech. In this case, surrounding a bunch of tweets. This was the offence of, for the purpose of causing annoyance, inconvenience, or needless anxiety to another, persistently making use of a public electronic network. In other words, sending a whole bunch of tweets deliberately to cause anxiety to somebody else, inconvenience, or annoyance. And if it crosses a threshold, it could be an offence. Now, I have issues with that law the way it's drafted, but it does have its uses, and there is a point for it to be used. But court was quite clear here. At the conclusion of the hearing, we announced the appeal will be allowed and the conviction quashed. And it follows that all orders made on the conviction will also be quashed, and goes through the reasons. But the bits that I want to draw your attention to are thus. The court said, in short, I do not consider that under section 127 there is an offence of posting annoying tweets. I would reach that conclusion as a matter of domestic statutory interpretation without reference to Human Rights Act. But once one takes Article 10 into account, the position is even clearer. So just to be clear, there is no offence of posting an annoying tweet. And it's even clearer when you consider the Article 10 right to the freedom of expression. But it went even further than that. The court referenced in this case that the prosecution argument failed entirely to acknowledge the well-established proposition that free speech encompasses the right to offend and indeed abuse another. And the judge appeared to consider that the criminal conviction was merited on acts of unkindness, calling others names, and that such acts could only be justified if they made a contribution to proper debate. So the court here made it absolutely clear that this prosecution was flawed because they failed entirely to acknowledge this principle that free speech includes the right to offend and abuse another, aside from the simple fact that annoying tweets don't amount to an offence. So tweet away and it can be annoying. But just bear in mind that you might cross the threshold into defamation, or if it crosses a really serious threshold, you might still be prosecuted for it. But this is where we then get into the territory of the police recording non-crime hate incidents, which I also disagree with. Because as I mentioned many times before, this might mean you have a hate incident recorded against you, which is not a crime, but it's recorded against you, which could have serious consequences for you. Now, I don't agree with that. I think that's wrong. I think that's a problem, and I think we should stand against it. So I had to get that out because you might see these things. You might wonder what the law is. With respect, I think we all need reminding what this law is because it's too easy to forget just how clear the court was in a principle like this. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Consider what I've said about Tommy Robinson in the first half of the video. Please do support my partner Saley for this video. Please do download it and use it. It is really useful. And I thank them for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you next time.